Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bridging the Gap. I'm your host, Ramont Williams, and we have a lot of distinguished guests tonight. And I'm going to allow you, starting with you, young lady, to introduce yourself and tell us where you're from.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ilisa. I'm from Las Vegas. Grew up and was raised out here, and I lived in Alaska for 15 years. Now I'm back home for about a year and a half. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for welcoming me.
Step.
Hi, I'm Steph. I'm from Reno, Nevada. Born and raised my whole life, pretty much. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm Dana. I'm in Dallas.
I need y'all to speak up a little bit, please.
I'm El Boogie Legend from Las Vegas by way of the Bronx. Thanks for having me back on the show, man.
Yep, and I'm Fred from Las Vegas.
So let's start this off. I'm gonna pose this question to the whole panel, and we're just gonna kind of go around. We're gonna do something a little different today. So tonight's topic is, why is interracial relationships still frowned upon in America? Now, as you speak, I pulled up some things here on my computer, so I'm gonna interject from time to time based on these stats that I've researched on. So, with that being said, Alicia,
Yes, Ilisa.
yeah, she disappeared. Oh, there she
Sorry,
goes.
sharing the link.
So, with you, young lady, let us have your perspective on interracial relationships, if you would, please.
Like personally, I don't too much see anything wrong with interracial relationships. I think it's evolution. But I do kind of like understand why a lot of people may frown upon interracial relationships in regards to like different aspects. Like in America, personally, if we're talking like black and white type of interracial relationships, I think a lot of underlining issues would stem probably from slavery, right? And just like things that are deeply embedded in your DNA, like, oh, when they go home, we don't know what they're talking about in their house versus when they go home. It happens on both sides, I personally believe. But I think in other cultures, people are just like used to what they know. They expect to follow tradition. And then I think there's a lot of jealousy sometimes in interracial relationships. So there's this saying, like, if we're talking about the black community or like the black man, for instance, he can be a woman with the same woman from the start. Like, let's use some professional players, for instance. You got the same high school sweetheart girl from day one, and she's a black woman. But like, soon as you move up, it's almost like this feeling of wanting acceptance is what people tend to feel, why they may switch races. Like, okay, we're hopping over here now to this white woman or whatever. And I think for a lot of black men who do that, they're looking for some type of submission and what's the word I'm looking for? Like servants, in a sense. They want someone easygoing. When black women, they tend to feel like, especially if they're homey, like, okay, this has been from day one. We're gonna be expressive. We're not gonna hold back about our feelings, and kind of like being a leader in a foundation if we need to in that relationship. But so I think that other people tend to maybe be jealous, like, the grass is never greener on the other side type of situation. But I don't personally have anything against interracial relationships. Now, I prefer black because that's what I'm most comfortable with. That's what I can relate to the most. But for each his own.
Okay. So, what about you, Miss Step?
Thank you. So I think there's a big gap. I think that people frown upon interracial relationships, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I think jealousy plays a role because if we look at NBA, we look at football, um, the brown population takes over all of that. They will supersede you in all those. They're faster, they're stronger, they're just a lot better players. But I think also, and I don't want to be sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I think our government kind of builds that bridge that creates that gap. If we look at the definition of human, hue means different shades of color. Human, we're all humans. So, but I think it's a big problem. And I think it doesn't matter what race, like I come from a Vietnamese background. They want you to be strictly with Vietnamese people. Well, if that's the case, then why do you migrate to other places? If you feel, you know what I mean? Like you should be with, whatever the race is, then why bother even migrating? If we look at why, again, this goes back to slavery, because when they colonized everything, that's how all of this came about. So I think it's a big problem, but I think it's intentional. I think it's to create a divide, and I think people should be able to love who they want to love freely, and whatever that shade is for you, it shouldn't matter. You're going to find people that support you, from all shades, and it shouldn't matter, but it's a big problem.
So do the kids that arise from these relationships, do we take in account some of the things that they would be faced with or confronted with, not only in school, but through their peers, other family members, when they come from interracial relationships?
We do. Let me give you a good example. Like, so during COVID, my kids, I think whatever we expose our kids to, it matters. Let me give you a good example. Like during COVID, before they didn't used to push race in school and all that, but when COVID came out, they started pushing like this, sexism and this whole, racism stuff. So my daughter at age 16, I swear to you, comes home and she asked me, "Mom, what is racism?" And I had to go explain to her, this is how it used to be. And she literally looked at me like I was ridiculous. She was like, "You don't even make sense what you're saying." And I said, "It doesn't make sense and it's not applicable to you. So disregard it." And I told her, "You are right." She's like, "We're all the same." And I was like, there you go. So I think whatever we expose our kids to, and the age matters, because if we think about the development of our brains, we can process certain information at certain ages, right? When you introduce certain topics to the younger kids, they don't know what the heck. So we're kind of instilling those beliefs in them at a young age, and we shouldn't do that. There's a time and a place for everything.
Okay. What about you, Miss D?
For me, I just think there's a small subsector of people who frown upon interracial relationships. I think the people who tend to be in the interracial relationships, especially the men that are in them, are more worried about what people think than people worried about what they're in. So I just don't find it as big of a deal. Love who you love, date who you want to date, but I just don't think it's such a thing where it's a thing. We've come a long way. I think more people are just, they know what it is. They may not like it, but
So would you date outside your race?
It just really depends. You know what I mean? I'm not 100% certain. I have, but at this point in my life, I don't know.
So hold on 1 second.
Take a special type of somebody.
And I want to interject on that. I'm going to keep it a buck with you guys. It's not the outside that's more the ones that say, "Oh, why are you mixing races?" It's our own families that's doing it. So like we got family members that are like, "What?" It's not from everybody else. They don't even have the balls to go up there and be like, "Yo, I'm against this." It's from our own family that's, "Oh, why are you dating it?" Like, shut the front door and just mind your business. You know what I mean?
So I don't know very much about you, Step. So you have biracial children?
So my children are Vietnamese and Hispanic, but I'm going to keep it a buck with you guys. When I told my dad, like, he was like, "What?" How Asians are with their little accent. He was like talking shit. Like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, he's like, "This is not right." Like, no. And I was like, "What the hell?" So I was just like, I didn't even talk to him for a minute, because he was just like, "No, this is not how it's going to be." You know what I mean? I'm like, "Well, you know what? This is what it is." And you know what? You got to go through that because they realize, I think maybe if they don't interact with other races often, right? Asians tend to stay with Asians. Like if you ever worked in a workplace, you're going to see all the Asians chilling together on lunch. They're going to keep their inner circle, and that's how it is. That's how Asians are. They don't care any races outside of the scope, and it just don't make any sense to me. But that's how it is. My dad used to be like that, and now he don't care. But he had to be around other people besides just the way, the small minded this is what it is. No, people are all the same. So now
So,
he's cool with it, but this is years ago. He was just like, no, what the hell? And I'm like, just whatever. That's
so
what it is. If you don't
let me
accept
ask
it,
you a
then
question, Stephanie.
yeah.
So did people within your race make comments to you about situations like when they saw you out with your, Mexican boyfriend, did they have
Yeah.
negative things to say? So I think the Black man can, they can rest easy because people do it in all cultures. They
It's
just
all
think Black
cultures.
women are mad at them for dating outside their race, but other
They don't
cultures
care
get
what
it
race
just
it
as
is.
well.
Every race has that, and it's like if it ain't our color, it ain't right. Like everybody
We
needs to
just
shut it
tend to
down.
talk about it more often.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's kind of like, if it's not yours, why do you care? You're not dating them. I think like sometimes when it comes to like parents and relatives, they have this genuine fear of a stereotype that they've seen the media continuously portray. And so like the media wants to pretty much portray every ethnicity how they want the world to view that ethnicity and culture. But I think people are just so diverse in general that it really just comes down to compatibility. And I believe in soul connections. So at the end of the day, you're going to love who you love for whatever reason why you chose to be with that person. But I did want to like touch back on Ramon's topic in regards to like the kids and the families. When I was in Alaska, I had a few really close friends who were half white and half Black. And I hear this thing like, oh, it's different if you're half white and half Black and your mom is Black and your dad is white versus your mom being white and your dad being Black. And that could be for some reason, like primarily the way cultures are, people tend to stick closer to the mom side of the family, if that makes any sense. And both of them were raised by their mothers who happen to be white. And one was a male and one was a female. And they literally kind of grew up with seeing the racist white family members that they have, some who are racist and some who were loving. And they're over here like, dang, how do I identify? How do I go to school? And like, I feel like I'm not quite Black enough. I feel like I'm not quite white enough. But that's kind of how I got close to them, is them like finding culture within getting to know me, which was really interesting that they wanted to learn more about their their African American heritage. So for them, it was kind of like a traumatic experience growing up. And I was really surprised to hear that, especially with them both growing up in Alaska, but they still was kind of getting that same, just like negative contents from both sides of the fence. Like, you're not Black enough, you're not white enough.
And I want to say one thing on that because she's right. When I tell you my family is so diverse, I mean, like, if you look at my family tree, the white side of my family is like racist as hell. I had this teenage friend. This extends not just to who you're with, like as a partner, but who your friends are with. So my grandma, I'm from the East Coast, so I'm from South Carolina. One time I had this friend, Maisha. We were like best friends. And I didn't know, nobody ever sat me down and said, oh, we're racist. You know what I mean? But we wouldn't go over there and I didn't think anything of it. And I didn't know it was because I was not white. You know what I mean? So I moved over there because I got in trouble here. And then I had a friend and we went over there, and my grandma, I never talked to her after this. She literally made, and when I tell you she made us stand outside like the whole time my mom was visiting her for 8+ hours. I'm talking like dead ass. And I never understood that. So on the way home, I asked my mom, I was like, what was that about? And she was like, well, your grandma's racist. And I was like, well, why would you bring me over here? You know? Like, why would you bring us over here knowing what the situation was? So that's why I've never been close with them. But this is not just who your relationship is. It extends to friends or anybody you interact with. And that's just, I've seen the worst of the worst. And that's not what I stand for, I just
Yeah,
think it's not right.
right.
What about you, Mr. Legend?
Oh, what was the question? We talking about the basic question, or?
Yeah, the basic question. What
Okay.
is your take on interracial relationships?
I think it's like Steph and Alyssa. Is that how you pronounce Alyssa?
Yeah, Elisa.
Alyssa. Okay, cool. My bad. Sorry.
Right
But
there.
yeah, I think they both made strong points because, like, especially with Steph saying, like with Asian community, I used to when I worked in the wedding industry, I dealt with a lot of Asian people, and they ain't want nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to I'm there for for the reason that they're there for, and I'm trying to sell them what they to buy. But they didn't want to buy it from me. I never understood like why are Asian people so hard to connect with, like, you know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is like she said, with the media shit, it plays a big role because the way the media portrays black people, the way we're portrayed in the media, and this is coming from an Asian friend that I had, the way that they portray us as animals, and they portray us like, you know, the regular stereotypes. And Asians, they see that shit and they're like, nah, we don't want nothing to do with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why it's really hard. That's why you really ever, well, from what I was told, like that's why you'll rarely ever see Asians even trying to fuck with blacks, even being friends. It's not even about them just dealing with us. Period. It's just that we're portrayed by the media in a certain light, and whether or not the stereotypes is true or not that's the topic of discussion. That's a different topic. You know what I mean? But also I think it's like I believe with Steph, like it shit is rooted. You know what I'm saying? It's rooted in history. It's like some of us are brought up in certain places where those are the values that we was taught, that was handed down to us from our parents and our grandparents and our and those before us. You know, like my current shorty, like my shorty, right? She was like, I mean, she's free thinking, but her parents are not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they got to know me and they got to see how I am and who I am and whatever have not, but they definitely had misconceptions, preconceptions of me and whatever. And that shit gets passed down to generations, you know what I'm saying? And when you grow up in certain places where black people don't really rock with white people, you know what I'm saying? Like that's yeah, you know, don't bring no white girl in the house. So when you grow up, that's the same values that you instill in your kids. Like, yo, don't you, you know what I'm saying? And that should have just been passed down from generations. But there's a lot of different reasons why, because it's like, as far as it being frowned upon, there's just people, both black and white, whatever, that they have an old school and a primitive way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like they still think with old values. We in the year 2025 and they still thinking like we in the fucking 60s. You know what I'm saying? So as long as people are still thinking that in that kind of way, and if they could reach out to people, like whether it's they daughter, they kids, or they grandkids, whatever, and they can instill those same racist values, whatever, then that's how people gonna move. And then you gonna pass that shit down to your kids, you know? But there's, like I said, there's a lot of different reasons, man. Like, I mean, we get portrayed in the media to say don't fuck with black people because they wild and they violent and they all kinds of other shit and they lazy and they leave their family once the girl get pregnant, all that type of shit. And who gonna want to fuck with us? You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of different reasons.
And just to interject on that, if you think about Asians, they're fucking, excuse my language, they come from communism. So over there, the media control, they rule everything, right? They're going to project whatever idea they want us to have. Communism, it's even 10 times worse. And then if you go from East Coast to West Coast, because I went to school on the East Coast. On the East Coast, I'm like the immigrant over there because it's all like 95% brown people. Then you have like 1% of the whites and then like a 0.5% of Asians. So it's really, and it matters. Like it matters from where you're at. If you look at, you know, Louisiana, Mississippi, all that stuff matters. So it matters where you come from and what type of media. Communists, you know how they are. They're just not it.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, we know about that shit from school. If I don't remember anything else I learned in school, communist China and communism in Asia, period, I definitely remember that.
So what about you, Mr. Fred? No audio.
I'm all for it. So I wish we all would experience dating somebody else of a different nationality, and I think it would actually help a lot of us understand each other. You know, a lot of us think that we know a different race, we know how people live and how they think, and whose race is towards this person. You don't truly know. Like, how do you know that if you never even been around these kind of people? You know, and that go with every race. You got a lot of white people that click up with white people. They live in white neighborhoods. They shop at white stores. They go to white restaurants. Everything they do is always surrounded by white people. Same thing go with Mexican people, live in Mexican neighborhoods, Mexican stores. Asian people, black people even do it. Even out here where we live. Like, come on, like we hang out with some people that I tell them all the time, you live in a box. All we do is go to black events, black restaurants, black this, black that. And I say, let's go to this other side of town. Let's go eat here. Just eating somewhere different to be in a different environment. That's even a problem. It'll be, oh, I don't eat that. How do you know you don't eat that? How do you know? If you never had it, so I think a lot of times we got to stop being ignorant, man, because it's a lot of ignorance. And I do believe there are people that feel certain ways about different races, but then I also seen in a racial relationship, especially when there's a kid involved, I've also seen that bring the families together. I did read something one time that said that when you two have interracial kids, sometimes what it said, sometimes having an interracial kid or having something that's a part of your family that's different, it's hard to hate something that's a part of your family now. You might not like this black and white thing, but then these two end up having this kid. And now that might change the way you think sometime. Now you actually love something because it's a part of your family now. You might not like me, but you might like that kid I just produced with someone of that different race that's part of your family. You know what I mean? Maybe it took that kid to open somebody's eyes. Maybe I wasn't the person to open your eyes for whatever reason. But I think we got to stop all that, this whole don't do this. Why are you doing that? If you date who you want to date, you want to date strictly black and only black, then go do that. No one cares. I promise you. No one cares. I don't even care. I used to tell some of the black girls in my school to go get a white dude, go get a Mexican dude. Well, damn it. You don't want a white guy because that's just too far left for you. Then go get a Puerto Rican, get a black dude that speaks Spanish then. Let's start there. You know what I'm saying? But we got to cut it out though, man. And that's my view on it.
So basically, I've never dated outside my race. I've talked to women from different ethnic backgrounds, but as far as being in relationships with them, no, I haven't done that. But the biasness is very inherent in Black culture, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why. My son, I have 4 sons by a female that's Black and Hispanic, and they would never embrace her. When I ran into the unfortunate situation, I got locked up. They even jumped on my wife at the time, and I was pissed because I'm like, this woman has never done anything but respect y'all and try to be kind to you. And then you wait till I'm out the picture and then you make an excuse to jump on her, So I think the biasness, that's the terminology I would use, is really, we as Black people, we talk about how other ethnic groups are biased and racist towards us, but when you think about it, we reflect more biasness than any other culture that I've ever seen because we're a lot more open with it. We're easy to disclose our dislikes about certain things, and I'm a firm believer. You got to love who loves you. So if they're from a different ethnic background, then so be it. I haven't ventured out. I haven't had that experience, so I wouldn't know. It's not to say that I wouldn't, as Dana said early, if the opportunity presented itself, but it's just not something that I've ever pursued. I've always been into light, bright, almost white. So I'm kind of like right there on that border. I never crossed over. So I think, people should love who they choose to love. And if your family and friends don't accept it, then, it is what it is. I think it's systematic institutional racism that we come up around. And when you talk about, and give you an example, if you live in a white neighborhood, a predominant white neighborhood, then most of the people that live in that neighborhood pretty much have the same perspective, even if they've never talked to each other. People congregate because of commonalities. That old analogy, birds of a feather flock together. That's the reason people congregate. and my family is so racist, man, it's not even funny. They tell me all the time, I don't care who you date, don't bring no white girls here. So and I've kind of stuck to that, unfortunately. And it's not fair to myself or any person I choose to date, because basically I'm living for them. I'm not living for myself. So I don't agree with the stay in your ethnic circle. I really don't agree with that. I think that's what makes this world so unique, because we can explore different cultures and learn from different cultures. I'm talking about, if you want to stay black, then stay black. If you want to mix it up, then mix it up. That's just my take on it. I've never done it, probably never will, but who knows what tomorrow may bring. I might come on the show with a white girl next week.
I want to hear what Dana got to say.
I don't know.
I really don't have a whole lot to say, to be honest. I mean, I feel like, again, it's not as big of a deal as people make it. I think within every culture, there are some biases, some racism. I think, we can say, as the Black people on this panel, that, we hear it a lot, but that's what we associate ourselves with more. You're going to hear it more around your social circle. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know what other races are doing, talking about, for the most part, because that's not who we spend most of our time with. But, I'm tired of it actually being a thing. You know what I mean? I feel like the more you talk about it and bring it to light, it's more of a thing than what it needs to be. Like, honestly, I mean, if you have the right to choose your gender, then who really gives a damn who you're dating?
Come on, we got bigger problems.
You can choose your pronoun, your gender. You know what I'm saying? So
it's crazy, right? The world's evolving
like
real crazy. But I agree
think
with what you said, and I think, and I don't care what nobody says. Y'all can look this up. The ghetto, all of that stuff, housing is created to segregate us. It's not us that are against each other. They want to create a facade that we're against each other. You know what I mean? If we like you said, if we stop talking about it, especially in the schools have no business. They're not there. They want to say they teach history. That is not history. They're just conditioning our kids to grow up to learn to hate people and to create more of a divide. Because if we come together, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? And I think it starts with the school system, the news media. They need to just knock that shit off and educate, excuse my language, educate the kids, with reading and writing and whatever they're there for, not all this other extra stuff.
And the census, like the census make no sense. Like, we're one of the only countries. I mean, because like generally speaking, most countries, they're not as diverse as we are in America. So this problem is problematic specifically for, our region. And we walk around like, you're African American, you're Asian American, and we put a label in front of American in front of everybody to immediately let you know that you're different, when you're really not different. And then people now, they have a superiority complex. Our race is better than yours somehow, and this is why I don't want you to be with them, based off of what, like you said, the media is continuously portraying, like the incorrect image of how they want society to view people. So yeah, like if America gets to the point, and I think we're in the age of Aquarius, like a lot of us, we're all on the same page. We're like, heck, it ain't me dating them, it's you. Why do I care? But then we do have these like family members, and it's on everybody's side. Like, I got Black family members, just racist for no. Why do you care if he's dating a white woman or a Black woman? Do you want him? No, I don't want him, but well, what does it matter to you?
Because we got to remember, we're living for us and not for them. So am I living, and am I going to do what I want that makes me happy? Of course you are, right? Because that's your life. You have to deal with those choices. So it's not for nobody to add their 2 cents on whatever you have going on, right? Exactly. And I think we need to just recognize what it is. If you go put in an app anywhere, they ask you, what's your race? If it's not the system that's set up against us, then who the hell is it? If we're all equal, then why does that matter? Why do they even bother asking that question? So I think it extends beyond just relationships. I think we need to just look at the culprit and call it for what it is, because it's not us. We're really not against each other. You know what I mean? I swear to you, I don't think nothing. I don't care what color you are. And if we stop conditioning our kids in these schools by bringing these topics of so-called history to the forefront, then we can break the cycle. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
his story, because history is a whole lie. It's just
Well, let me pose a question to Fred and Larry, if you will. When it comes to preference and women, particularly women outside of our culture, because we're black men, is there outside of the normal stereotypical opinions given by people why men date outside of their race, particularly black men? Is there something special about white women? And I'm gonna say particularly white women, because that seems to be the norm for black men in society today. When they say dating outside their race, they're normally projecting that or saying or alluding to the fact that it's a Caucasian woman. So do these women possess some rare quality that black women don't possess?
Go ahead, Fred.
You want me to go first?
Oh, you put me on the hot seat. I gotta hear
Well,
this.
Go ahead, Fred.
I think I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start off the white woman thing first. I think in black culture, if she isn't black, they call it all white. It doesn't matter if she's Asian, Hispanic, don't matter, Indian. If she's not black, they call it white. He got a white girl, and she could be over there speaking Spanish right now. You know, so I think we gotta fix that part first. Okay. Second, there is nothing that's better. But what I will say is what I've experienced is I experienced more peace. I will say that, you know, and
You
that's not
experience what?
just white women. I dealt with that.
Clarify on that a little bit. What does
I
that
just
mean?
I dealt with more peace.
What is
Like
that?
for instance, not just peace putting a black, Asian, Hispanic girl compared to to a black girl. I'm not talking like peace like that. I mean, just overall peace. Like that can even your family can play a part in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, you might be good, but they say who you dating, who you marry, you still marry the family, man. And I got to go kick it with your family too, and they could be off the chain. That could disturb my peace. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I don't want to be over there around that. You know?
honest transparency from the white culture. And I mean, like, are they being themselves? I'm not here to judge, but I quite honestly wonder when I look at white families and how they interact. Like, are they truly being who they are? You know, is it transparent? Is the peace coming from holding back what they really want to say? Or are they being transparent? They just
That's the thing. See, that's the thing. And I think we were talking about, me and Larry were speaking about this earlier today. Exactly what you just said about are white people at home saying this? Well, black people go home and say some stuff too that white people don't know. You know what I mean? And
no, this is true.
I and if I say that, hey, if I go around a white family, I mean, they probably say something. Maybe I don't hear about it, but at the same time too, we all play a role on this side too, because we hear comments all the time about other races of people. You know, even people we kick it with every day have something to say. You know what I mean? So we can't always point the finger talking about what white people saying, because black people say stuff too. And me personally speaking, me dating other race, if I date other races of women, I don't like to use the word attack because it's not that serious. But if we were to say who got the most to say, I hear more from a black woman than I ever heard from a white person pointing fingers saying, why are you dating a black guy? Or why are you guys in this kind of relationship or whatever? I heard it more from my own than another race. And a lot of people think it's the other race that's saying something. And I haven't experienced that. You know, and that's the truth. And I don't really hear from black men either. No black man ever really questioned me about it.
So would it be fair to say that based on your experience, you kind of gravitate towards other race of women because of that peace factor that you have defined it as being?
I don't want to say the black women are peaceful. I don't want to make it come off like that. I think for me personally, I just like to learn about people, man. And y'all, those that know me, man, y'all see me. I talk to everybody, man, and I'll find common ground with every race of person. So I just like to learn about people, learn about their culture. I like to learn about the food, the way they act, and I think there's an attractive woman in every race. And for me to say, hey, man, you need to only stick with this. Why? Why do I need to do that? It's fine black women. It's fine white women. It's fine Mexican women. It's fine Puerto Rican women. Fine Asian women. Why do I need to stick to one?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what
I
y'all
agree
want
with
to
that.
do. By all means, y'all go do that. Go ahead. Go limit yourself. I'm not limiting myself. You know what I mean? Because I might click better with somebody, and who knows?
Hmm.
Right.
But I think at the
so
same
you don't
time, though,
just
I
hold on.
think us as colored women, we're more aggressive because we've been dragged through the mud for all the past years. You feel me? Like we've been like the minority of all the shit end of it. I know that ain't a thing now, but that's the reality. We've been have more on our backs than all the other,
Yeah, but
and that's
even
why
within
when
your
you say
culture,
it's more
About
peaceful.
it.
you're Asian. Even within your culture, you guys are still kind of taught being submissive to men. That's why so many white men try to get an Asian woman. If they not with a white woman, they go get an Asian woman. That's the backup plan for a white guy.
I don't know. Like when you talk about black women not being submissive, and I'm one who's been raised by grandmothers, great grandmothers, aunts, my mother, all these wonderful black women in my family, and I see them. I know how to cook soul food. I know how to cook Jamaican food. I know how to cook Vietnamese. I know how to do these things because a black woman has taught me. I've seen the mothers figure out the way how I'm gonna pay the bills, how I'm gonna figure this, and not the man trying to figure that shit. I seen the women doing it. So
Lisa,
like this black woman
no,
culture.
Lisa. See,
It's
you can't. Don't make it personal on you. We
I'm
talking on
not,
because I'm gonna give you an example, and I'm gonna be straight and
but
honest
I
with you
think that there's
because
a lot of black women who have families just like my family.
I know, but listen, I'm gonna even give you a perfect example. Even when you come around, we have some black women that even look at you different because the way you carry yourself. You don't carry yourself as the typical what people might think in their eyes. You talk different, you walk different, you act different, you dress different, you care, and your friends. You have white friends. Like if they look on your Facebook page, you surrounded by a bunch of white girls.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Now the same women that's judging you don't live your life. They don't even have white friends. You see what I mean? So even with that being said, they even look at you different.
That part.
You might not even be black enough to them.
Well, I grew up like this. Like, I grew up in Rose Garden Project. If you guys know anything about Rose Gardens, then you know. And my whole life, I don't know why, but all my cousins, like people talk and carry themselves the way they do. But since it's the spirit, it's not me. Since I was a little girl growing up around nothing but black people, I've always carried myself like this, and I've always had to fight for it too. And fought a lot in the projects and had the best hands in the projects, so you can never judge a book by its cover. But that's because women always try me, so I'm used to it. I'm used to them judging me, and black women do. And I don't know what this underlining jealousy thing is, but I really do think that within the black community it stems from slavery and how things were pinned up against black people. You feel me? But yeah, no, I see what you're saying though. That makes a lot of sense when I look at it from that perspective, because I like to look at everybody like if I'm black, I like to relate other black people and see them how I see myself and how I see my family.
So let me ask y'all this question, because I hear this a lot, and I think oftentimes people really don't understand that Black people have never been unified from the beginning of history.
Fact.
So what makes you think that all of a sudden in 2025, all of a sudden everybody's going to jump on board and sing Kumbaya and Black power? That's not going to happen. It's never existed. Slavery in this country may have been initiated by Caucasian people, but slavery has always existed in the Black cultures ever since the beginning of time. And I know this because I studied it very thoroughly when I was in college. So let's not make it seem as though Black people have just now got against Black people. Black people have never been unified. Even during the civil rights movement, it was more blacks opposed to what Martin Luther King was doing as opposed to the ones that supported him. So you know, it is what it is. You know, you got to play in the playground where people want to play with you. You know, if they don't, you know, you can stay over there and throw rocks if you want to, because as soon as I build up my rocks, I'm gonna throw them back. And that's just how I feel about that.
Hey,
it's not no blacks all of a sudden.
boy. Oh shit.
Laughing is
Yo.
me, y'all.
Hey, where Ramon go? Where's son go? Boy. Hey, listen, man. I'm reading all this shit. Tiana bugging out in the fucking comments. I'm gonna say this shit. Tiana wilding out in the comments. Look, I'm gonna say this shit, man. Like, it's funny because he kind of touched on what he kind of indirectly touched on what she said in the comment section, right? We are our own worst enemy. You see what I'm saying? So as far as this dating shit go, imagine like when we talking about this being frowned upon, right? If every black person, let alone black woman, their dialogue was the type of shit that Tiana putting in the comments, then of course we gonna if it started today, then we regress. We be going backwards. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the reason you talking about sticking with your own, we can't even stick with our own outside of motherfucking dating.
We're the most unprotected group of women on this planet Earth. So
Say
please.
But we gotta give our power back to the black
women.
Say what?
Black women are the most unprotected women on the planet Earth.
Okay, but
so if we have something to say, we damned if we do, we damned if we don't, because it's coming from every angle. You know what I'm saying? It's black this, black that, like.
But what I'm saying,
into the medical industry is insane too. But like, you know, black women, like she said, we're the most unprotected. But it's crazy when everybody, the whole world, even your own black men are against black women, what we do. Because as a demographic, we are the most successful entrepreneurs demographic in America. Look it up. This is true. As black women, they are the most college graduate degree people in the nation. So, you know.
But we can't have that either. We can't be too smart. We can't be too sassy.
According to who though?
When your back is against the wall, what you gonna do?
To the general, to the masses.
Just gonna fight our way up out of it, you know?
Right.
Like when the back is against the wall, what you gonna do? And black women, you know, we like, oh, you guys are too aggressive in the household, you know, you're not submissive enough. But you know, it's like, what are we doing wrong when we're showing that we're doing so much right? We raising these kids, we're the providers and the protectors.
Yo, look, I hear that shit. I honestly don't understand what it means when I hear black women are the most unprotected. I don't even understand what that shit mean, because I could say the same thing about black men. And as far as like what y'all are saying about black men, we be bashing y'all, we don't protect y'all. Y'all be the same women. It be black women that talk about niggas ain't shit. So we don't protect each other. This shit don't go one way, it go both ways.
But typically, why do men get the label they ain't shit? Why? Like,
why do y'all give it to us? That's the question.
Like,
why do y'all
all
give
of
it
a sudden just man became ain't shit? Did y'all do some ain't shit?
Why do y'all give it? Why do y'all label us like that? Why do y'all talk about us like that?
But I'm just saying, like,
the general label for men in general, sometimes, like, I don't think it's specific to black men.
Man, like,
I think black men take it to heart a lot more. But yeah, I think men as a species, you guys are all the same.
Okay, that's bugged out, but okay.
I mean,
that's like me saying if I said all women are bitches or all women are hoes.
Oh no, I'm not saying that you guys are not shit. That's not what I was.
I don't think that's being disrespectful. I mean, saying all women are bitches is different from saying there's some ain't shit people, men. You know what I'm saying?
So if I worded it that way, if I said all women,
apples and oranges, that don't even make
sense.
Like,
for instance, if a nigga ain't shit, he's not going to be there to take care of his kids. He probably don't have a job, etc. those are the ain't shit niggas. But those are in every single race and ethnicity where, you know, women are coming home to ain't shit niggas. Like, damn, you still on the couch, like, you know, stuff like that. So like, oh, excuse me, excuse my language. I wasn't specifically saying all men ain't shit, and I think it's a general statement for just people.
Well,
And
I think we're kind of getting off the subject, but here's the question I want to pose, because this is something that's said often, particularly from Black women. How do you feel, and how do you validate this statement that you're the only race of women that's truly unprotected? I'm not, help me understand this, because you know I grew up around blacks. My father was black, my mother was black, so I don't have any interracial in me. You know, I grew up doing the 60 thing. So how is it all of a sudden that Black women particularly have become targeted by society where they're not protected? I'm not getting that part. Help me understand that.
I know about the medical field statistics. I don't know about the violence and the rape crime statistics, but I've heard about this statement in the statistics before. And you know, in the medical field, they kill more Black women in this nation than any other ethnicity times like 2 or something crazy like that. Now, when it comes to like all violent crimes, I know that men commit, you know, 91 or so % of all violent crimes and rapes. And I don't know if those are majority happening to women, but women need protection from men, from men, from men. So if men are continuously walking out of a woman's life and we don't have that protection of a man to protect us from other men, then who is protecting us?
Okay, let me stop you right there. You speak and you put emphasis on protection, right? But you have to understand, men, that's our premise. That's what we operate. That's what we function on. That's the nucleus of our existence, is respect and protection, right? That's our whole basis. So if women have declared their independence, particularly Black women, from Black men, how do you expect us to reach out and protect you when you're saying you don't need us?
I mean, which part is it that you guys want? Do you want a woman who
At what
needs
point did you
you?
leave?
Do you want a woman who needs you? And do you want her to be submissive? Because that would entail that you, as a man, would do everything else. Like, hell, I would be comfortable being a stay-at-home mom, making some bomb food all the time. I keep my house clean anyway. That ain't shit. So, I mean, are you just gonna pay all the bills and provide? Or do you want me to go out and work, get this bread too together? And in that case, yes, that makes me a little bit more independent. You know, you already said you ain't gonna buy this shit for a woman in the last podcast. So if you're not gonna be buying her anything, she has to be independent to get it for herself.
Okay. No, it doesn't work like that. You can try to deflect this based on past podcasts, but no, I'm not gonna let you pull that shit tonight. Okay. So this is the reality right here. I'm not buying a woman anything on her expectations or entitlement. That's what I meant by that. If I'm in a relationship, what's mine is my woman's. It's just simple as that. But what I'm talking about here is when you're talking about interracial relationships, then you branch off to say, well, Black women are targeted. They're the ones that don't receive the protection that they feel they deserve. But here's the thing, and I'm talking about, look at this shit realistically. When me as a man, I'm gonna give you a hypothetical, okay? If we're in a relationship and you have this assertive behavior because of your past choices and that has brought you to this point that you're in life, so you've declared this independence and you're talking to me with no respect. You don't have to call me no bitches. You don't have to call me no punks. It's just your demeanor, your deliverance, how you talk to me. How the fuck do you expect me to protect you when you run out the house looking like a hoe? Okay, you're in the streets acting like a hoe, but you want me to run out and protect you when you don't even respect me. Come on, you gotta make this shit make sense.
I never encouraged anybody to be Captain Save a Hoe.
Ooh, if you're running out the hole to looking like a hole, how did she get in your house in the first place? You had the hole. Your hole.
Hey, well, here's the thing, Dana. When a motherfucker brings suitcases in, you ain't got no scanner, no X-ray machine, so you don't know what's in the motherfuckers.
You met her.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because
that's the person you
know,
met.
I had it's funny because I had the same conversation with a friend of mine that lives in Texas last night, talking on the phone 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And she has this, she's a lady that if you looked at her, you would think that she's the type of female that we talk about often on social media. But when you talk to her, she's not. She's just the opposite. She's more into being submissive. She's more into supporting a man, blah, 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 all that. So I said all that to say this is you oftentimes, we all do, we judge a book by its cover. So you can't say that women are not protected, particularly you Black women, when you declared your independence. So I'm talking about
why do we have to declare independence? I just want you to answer that. Why do Black women or women in general have to declare independence? Because at some point there was a family nucleus of people together in a relationship. In those situations, let's go back to the 70s, 60s, or whatever the case may be. What happened? What was the breakdown? Did women start leaving the home? Did women start having kids in the other neighborhood across the street? What did we do?
Okay. What happened is, and it's simple. When the government, because all this is systemic. Okay, so when the government created this welfare system, that a lot. Hold on, hear me out. Okay, because during the 60s, Blacks were somewhat unified. Okay, so there was a lot of fathers in the home. Okay, fathers are not or did not abandon their families as it's being portrayed. Okay, when the system created the system that so many Black people have jumped into this pool, hold on, that's what made Black men leave. They were forced out the homes.
So you're gonna tell me you're gonna let some white man tell you to leave your house and your family because your wife can get a check? How you forced out of the damn home? That don't even make sense.
Okay.
Who forced you to get out of the home?
Can I jump in this shit real quick?
It goes back to assessment.
Go ahead.
Let me jump in this shit real quick. All right, so like Dana, to answer your question, and I'm just to be on some professional shit, like what happened, I think that as time changed, life changed. You know what I'm saying? As time progressed, because when you look at it, like the people that used to hold our families together, as far as family values and all that shit go, those people unfortunately are no longer with us. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as the good Black household and the family barbecues and all that shit like that, the family reunions, those are our grandmothers and our moms, and like those are people from different generations who thought differently. Those people know a lot of families, those people are no longer with us. So today's the new niggas, I be the one to say it, the new niggas don't have them kind of values no more. You know what I'm saying?
But it started somewhere. So what he's saying, women are more aggressive or more this and more that.
More independent.
We were docile. We were at home. We were taking care of the kids. We didn't talk back. We didn't do those things. But as men got more aggressive, beating on their women, leaving the home, you have to develop thick skin in order to take care of your family and survive. So if a woman is now aggressive, that's something that she learned over the years. You know what I'm saying?
I get that part, but even if you had to adapt, okay, to your situations.
But you guys have changed as well. So it's not just the women out here being aggressive.
Okay.
Look how you become. Y'all say bitch so free. Y'all talk with a lot of bass in your voice.
Let me ask you a question.
With a man talking to that with that tone and inflection.
We've had this conversation before. Would you agree that there's still good men that exist? There's still good women that exist, Just because we haven't encountered them, don't mean that they're not there.
Oh, I never say they're not there. They're
Yeah,
there.
I think the statistic, I mean, like the statistics say otherwise. I think the media is going to portray like a bigger picture than what the reality is. I think there's a lot of Black men and fathers that are still in the household, but for some reason they make it seem like our households are more broken than everybody else's, and not by a long run at all.
I'm not just saying that the broken family. I'm just saying that people became aggressive in situations because they changed. They had to fend for themselves. There's a lot of single mothers out here who had to get it, had to do what they have to do. And so when a man is saying, why is a woman so aggressive? And he hasn't been in her shoes to, do the
because now she's the provider and the protector. It's that simple. It's called like a defense mechanism. It's your body's reaction. Like, of course, if you're the one who's doing everything for yourself and for your family alone, you're not going to be walking around looking like you're weak and submissive. You're going to carry yourself in a manner, but excuse me, like you're going to carry yourself in a manner where you're going to appear that you got your household and you can hold it down. But I think a lot of women are just waiting to fall back and be submissive. They're just waiting for a man masculine enough to come save them from this masculinity that we have to experience. But the thing is, a lot more men are in their feminine. They're like, listen, I want a 50-50 house. I want a submissive wife. I want a servant. And then what is that?
So you're saying a man is in his feminine essence because he wants 50-50 with a woman?
None of you men appear feminine to me, by the way. But there is a lot
to be pursued. Yeah,
right now that are very feminine in this era. Very feminine. None of y'all.
That's them niggas.
You know what?
Wouldn't say that about none of you.
Hey, realistically, all hope is lost. This shit ain't gonna never pan out. It's not. So we can talk about this until we get 100 years old. With the ideologies that people are embracing based on their experience, it's never going to change. It's just going to get worse.
What would be your resolution? How would you expect for a woman who who has been 50-50? Let's just paint a scenario. She's been 50-50 with her man, and for whatever reason the household don't work. The man walks out. What would you expect for her mannerisms? How would you expect for her to carry herself? How would you expect for her to live her livelihood? And how would you expect for her to find and meet and greet a new man so he doesn't think that she's too masculine for him?
Look, we always keep using that excuse that men are walking out. I know a lot of dudes, the women that threw the niggas out. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of dudes that got kids with these women and threw the men out, and he can't come back to the house or be a father to the kids. So we can't always be acting like because if she ain't with her man, it's because a nigga left. Because we know that's not.
We're not saying that. We're just saying where it rooted from. I'm not saying it today.
But I do agree with you on. I feel roles are changing. When we say women are becoming more masculine, I do see men are becoming more feminine now. You know what I'm saying? And I see the roles are changing. But then I ask myself, why is that? If you say that women are being they're single mothers now, so they have to become more masculine, fend for the home, fend for themselves, this and that. I get that. But then also while she's a single mother, we can't forget she's also raising little boys too. Now, that's why it's so important to have a man in the household. Now these little boys grow up not seeing a man. So you got a boy being raised by a woman. That's probably why we got a lot of feminine ass men in the world. Not saying they, the G word. What I'm saying is female characteristics about them, because they don't grow up seeing a man. They don't know how a man's supposed to provide. They don't know how a man's supposed to hold down a household. All they seen was their mom. So they probably get older, no job, lay around, and they look for women to take care of everything in the house because they were brought up like that, seeing their mom do it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But like I said, I do agree with you with the whole masculinity going one way and men.
I agree with you too. Like a lot of most of us do walk out. A lot of men actually don't walk out on their families, but it's the type of shit that it's your non-negotiables. What are you willing to put up with? And I think women put up with a lot, but men are not willing to put up with nearly as much as women put up with on the other hand. But I just want to hear your solution. I want to hear the resolution to how we're going to get these women back to being feminine enough to be suitable enough for you guys, to where you're not feeling like you have to take care of her. and you're not feeling like, you know, she's too aggressive in your relationship? What's your solution?
Are you posing that question to me?
For the fellas in general, for the men.
I don't think there's a
Because
solution. There ain't no solution because not enough people gonna actually care enough. You
I
know what I'm
think
saying?
it's
Like that's just what it is. Some people gonna be on board with what you're saying, and some people are not gonna be on board with what you're saying. And I the reason why I say that is because that applies to every issue within the Black community. Why can't we all get along, right? Why is niggas still banging on each other and all that other type of shit? Why do we hate on each other so much? Some of us wish that shit would stop, but there's not enough people in our culture to wish that to actually make that shit happen. You know what I'm saying? A lot of motherfuckers, they don't care about all that. They don't want to hear all that unification shit and let's take care of each other. So to answer your question, in my opinion, I don't think there is a solution to be realistic about it. You know what I'm saying? Like not enough people gonna care about that shit. And a lot of times today I could be like, yo, you know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna be on my pro-Black. I'm that's my brother and that's my sister, and I'm gonna protect the Black woman. Then tomorrow I get burnt by a nigga because most of the foulest shit that's ever been done to me has been at the hands of Black men. Ain't no white people really done me dirty. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the streets, and all the shit that has been done to me has been by niggas. Real shit. And the worst shit that's happened to me has been at the hands of my own people, Black men and women. So and there's no grudge. I don't have no grudge against no Black people. I'm still running with them. That's my peoples. You know what I'm saying? But realistically speaking, that's who burned me the most. So with that being said, there's always gonna be that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we always gonna be against each other. So as far as all that, how we gonna get there? We ain't gonna get there because there's not enough niggas giving a fuck about getting there. That's how I feel.
yeah. And what
Let
about
me
that? Like chivalry is dead
let, let, let
versus
me let me piggyback off of something he said, if I may. Kind of in a little subtle way. I agree with you, Legend, 101%.
I'll
But
be bugging.
to kind of answer her question, I think given the situations that you're speaking of that a lot of Black women had to endure over the last 40, 50 years, that's understandable. When you have men, and I don't want to put no title as high value men, but when you have men that have themselves together and have a sense of maturity, what they're looking for, including myself, is a woman that can stand on her own. But when we come together, we have to understand the roles that we have to play. I know a lot of women today, modern women, are not into gender role playing, but you can't get away from the fact when mostly women advocate religion more so than men. So if you're going to advocate that, then you got to stand on what you claim you believe. So if you understand and believe that God created you to be a man's helpmate, then with all the experience you bring, then help bring that balance to a man's life. Don't come in with your declarance of I'm independent, I make more than you, I got more degrees than you. You know what I'm saying? You gonna demasculate yourself and kind of allow me, because this is what society is saying now, that women are moving forward and men are digressing. So they're going backwards and women are now taking a leadership role. Well, most men like myself, I'm not a Neanderthal. I'm not barbaric to the degree that I feel women should come in. They shouldn't have a say in the house, that they should be barefooted, pregnant. No, those days are gone. I understand that. But what Fred said earlier is the peace thing. Okay. Once you get to a certain age, and Miss D, me and you talked about this. I don't want to be in competition with you as my mate. Okay. We can be together and complement each other. Okay. And you can still have all these accolades that you have acquired. But in the household, or this palace, as we call it, there can only be one king and one queen. The queen never runs anything in the kingdom. She may give advice And I'm not saying that that makes you subservient to me. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm just saying, if we play life out on a chessboard, the queen is a piece that can move, but her role is to what? It's to support the king. Okay, so if you're coming in and you're challenging my role as a man, then we got a problem. I don't need that. And most men today are not going to accept that, just like most women today are not going to accept men calling them bitches, treating them like tramps, or treating them, like they don't have a say or they have no purpose in life. So if you want that balance, you got to be willing to reciprocate the same thing that you're demanding. And most women today are not willing to do that. I'm sorry to say that. A lot of the ones that I've met are not willing to do that. So this is the reason a lot of men have the mindset that they have. If you want independence, you've declared independence, then do your thing, sister. I'm not even tripping. But in this household right here, you step into your role or you stay your ass out in the cold.
I think you just got to find a person for you, because I think those are some antiquated mindsets. You know what I'm saying? Roles are reversing and people change. And I think people set up the boundaries and the tone for their own relationship. You know what I mean? Some women like submissive men. Some women like more aggressive men. So coming into a situation, you know what I'm saying? Once you determine, learn a little bit about that person, then you'll be able to determine if that's something that is non-negotiable, because, gone are the days where someone gets to tell me who and how I should show up. You know what I'm saying? You're going to accept me for me, just like I'm going to accept you for you, if that's who I want to rock with. But as far as telling me how to walk into a situation, when I'm out here walking my truth and I know I'm living a good life and doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, no man is going to tell me how I should show up. You know what I mean? And if he doesn't like the way I show up, then he is not for me. And I think we just have to be more accepting of the fact that you can't change somebody or fit them into the box. That's where we go wrong. We try to make someone fit into this box. Women, men, we both lie and try to assimilate and try to look like something, imposter, until, you can't fit. That's why the shit don't work. Come into it your 100% self. If I'm not submissive, I'm not submissive. Shit, that's just not who I am. You know what I mean? If I talk with a little, sass and a little bit of aggression, some people like that. You know what I'm saying? If whatever you are, you just have to show up. You know what I'm saying? And stop trying to fit somebody's.
So let me ask you this question, and I pose this question to both of you ladies.
And that lasted for 20 years, and the dynamic was pretty smooth.
Okay, I know your situation, Dana. You, Elisa.
Yeah.
If you were in a relationship, okay, you too, Dana, is it possible for you to be today, given all the things that both men and women have been through, the traumas, because we've both endured some type of trauma, and given what you just said, which is valid, is it possible not trying to put a person in this little small box that we've created and expect a person to be in? Could you be in a balanced relationship with a man where there's not this tug of war about who can have the most say and who's in control?
Absolutely. A man is going, for me, I feel like that's going to be dictated. A leader, it doesn't have to be told to be a leader. He's just going to lead. You know what I'm saying? And if I trust in the fact that he has good leadership qualities, then I'll let him lead, and where he is not strong, where he's not strong in certain areas, I'm going to pick that up. But, it's something that shouldn't have to be spoken. It is what it is. You can just determine that, just as you get to know somebody, you know what I'm saying? Assess their life, do they pay their bills? How they move, how they, you know what I'm saying? Just certain, things you can just determine whether or not you want to take.
I was in a 22-year-long relationship, and I feel like it was successful as long as it was. We broke up because of incompatibility. I mean, we were together since we were 14 years old, and people do grow apart. However, I feel like it was a really successful relationship because it was very balanced. You know, like I didn't look at him like he was just supposed to provide and just be a paycheck, and he didn't look at me like I was just supposed to be a servant. You know, like when we both are going off to work and coming home, you know, yeah, I might cook, but he probably gonna do the dishes without me asking because he's thankful that I cooked, or he might be in a good mood and do something really nice for me. However, you know, I trusted him to make those more hardcore decisions. I still look to him today, like sent him a message like, hey, is this a legitimate website to buy from? Because I trust his judgment and his leadership. But a lot of times when it came down to stuff, he was more so, hey, happy wife, happy life. Like, I'm not stressing it. He was not stressing it. You know, so if it's like, oh, you know, I think we should get this car. Oh no, babe, I like this one. Then he gonna be like, that's what she like, you know? Or if it was just like, what furniture set do you want? I don't care. You pick it out, babe. Like he was very much so like, in a sense, not putting up a fight or a battle for who's gonna be more dominant and who's gonna, you know, be more. It was just a smooth balance. Like we didn't have to fight for that stuff. You know, we never fought over finances really. We never really fought over just like those stupid little petty day-to-day things. But did certain things get exhausting too? Like, yes, because naturally, like a man ain't gonna just be the one to pick up and do things around the house. You know, you got to do it and be like, hey, you know, these your socks on the floor too. You gonna help, you know? And that can be nagging to some men or whatever, but it is what it is sometimes. If we're both leaving and coming home, and then like he would do the hard things. Okay, I'm gonna go in there and change the oil. Well, I'm gonna sit here in the garage with you. You need a tool or something? What do you need? You need me to hand you this wrench, or like, oh wow, let me make sure the car doesn't fall on you while you're under there. Like little things like that. Like you change the oil once every 3 months, but you gotta cook and clean and take care of the kids every day, all day. It's not a fair trade if that's what men are looking for submission out of women, is for her to be a servant because they didn't cut down the tree once a month and mowed the lawn. That's not a balance.
Go ahead and get it, Ramon.
So,
Y'all want a servant, then just say that. That's a slave.
okay, let me ask you a question. Okay. And Larry, I want you to get in on this, man.
Okay.
If women, particularly Black women, are so opposed to the word submissive, okay, you claim that it's such a big task to rear a child or rear children, cook and clean. So how
Work a 9 to 5. Don't forget.
9 to 5?
Okay.
So how do I do all that shit as a single father and don't complain?
We do it too and don't complain.
No, I'm talking about you complain all the time. So when men do it and don't complain, where is the balance? Got you.
I
don't think that was a gotcha. I really don't. I ain't gonna say that was a gotcha.
All I'm saying is the fact is
Listen.
I'm not trying to work a 9 to 5 and come home and be somebody's slave or servant or be submissive. I don't think anybody wants to be submissive. Our people have been in slavery before. That's why Black women, particularly and specifically all other ethnicities, have this thing like, I'm gonna be submissive when I want to be submissive, not because you told me to be submissive. You know, like,
okay, take submissive out of the equation. How do you balance the relationship with a man?
I just told you, I did it for 22 years and it was very successful and smooth. I just didn't want to do it no more.
So if you did it for 22 years, statistic wise, who walks away from more relationships, men or women?
Women.
Who?
I mean, like, from what I understand, I think.
Wait a minute. What did you just say? Who do?
Women do, don't they?
Oh, okay.
I think women walk more so away from relationships, but I think where the misconception comes from is when a man pretty much traps a woman and she's stuck with that responsibility and he gets to walk away because they were never really adhesive. That is where the resentment comes in. Now that's where women are like, oh, he just walked out of my life. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that it's right. You could blame her. You shouldn't be having sex with nobody where you're not that adhesive. Sometimes they are adhesive, and sometimes the man still walks out, or sometimes the woman just is, she walks out too. It just, but I think when the family is adhesive, and I think the relationship has been long term, typically the woman, if any families are going to be broken, she left. But listen to Priscilla Queenmaker. There's a lot of reasons why she probably walked out.
I think we said that last time. She ain't just walking out just to be walking out.
Yeah.
It's a goddamn reason.
Yeah.
So let me pose this question to you again, man. Because I'm just kind of confused here. You seem to be a woman that's straightforward. You seem to be a woman that's very well rounded and knowledgeable of life.
Well, thank you.
So you pose the question to me: what would be my resolve to this gap, this disparity that's between really particularly Black men and women? It exists in all ethnic background, but particularly we're talking about our race now. So what would be coming from your perspective, how would you approach this where you can create balance? Because I've asked you about this balance thing on several occasions, you've kind of alluded it. So I'm gonna ask you again, how do you bring this balance with your mindset?
Well, my mindset, the way I would bring balance, like first off, if I approach a new situation, I honestly, like if I date men right now, I don't expect for them to pay for me nothing, because sometimes you let a man pay for you something and then he expects something out of you. So therefore, if he offers to pay and he's like, I got this, otherwise I'm ready to pay my own bills. So that may already come off to some of you guys like, oh, she's too independent. But that's just what it is. And then if we get past those stages, I will let a man if you want to take care of the bill and I see that you're genuine and all this stuff and things are just unfolding naturally like that. Like, of course, like I like to play that role of being romantic anyways, so like, this is not anything that needs to be like, oh, she's not being submissive enough. This is something that I'm going to do out the kindness of my heart because I fuck with you, because I like you a lot. So if I like you a lot, like, yeah, I want you to try my food. Do you like it? Is it good? Like, yes, I want to do submissive like things, but not because you told me or you expect me to. Now, we become in a situation where, okay, I cook for you, I do nice things, and then I need the filter changed from my air conditioning. If I call you, well, you shouldn't have a problem with that either, because now we've built this bond and this connection, and it can go that way. Now, if we live together and now this relationship has fast forwarded into a home, I don't expect to quit my job. I'm not going to quit my job or slow down my career for any man. I just am not, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. I thought I was going to be with the same person forever, and then it turns out that we're not. And thank God I took care of myself when we were together, because there was a few times, like after I had the baby, he don't want me to go back to work. He don't care for me working, but he never was pushy on that. He let me do what I wanted to do. So then if I'm working and you're working, we have to balance. There has to be some type of balance. Who's going to cook today? Who's going to clean today? Who's going to, do all these specific roles around the house that just needs to be done? It's not one person's responsibility. And then, like I said, if you're outside cutting the lawn or doing whatever, like I have no problem either assisting with that just so we can hang out and be together while you're doing it. Or I can be in the kitchen cooking up a meal so that can be ready for you when you get done, because we got to eat. We both got to eat anyway. It's not that hard. I really don't understand, probably because I was with the same person for so long, only one man for so long. I really don't understand these dynamics that people are talking about, that women are just not submissive enough, that women are just too aggressive and independent. Now, I'm going to express myself. I'm not going to dim my light for no man. I'm not going to do that. and I'm gonna tell you how I feel when I feel it. So that way, if a woman does decide to walk out on you, at least you know why she didn't told you 1,000 times. I know some women will keep that to themselves and burrow it in other cultures and ethnicities because they're taught not to talk back to their man, but then they're unhappy and they're sad. That is not a good spirit for you. That's not a good spirit for her. And you have to sleep with this person. So, why would you want someone who's submissive and keeping all of this and harboring all of this feelings in? Because nobody wants to be a submissive servant. Nobody wants to be a little slave.
I think people just match energy. Certain men bring certain type of energy, and I think women match that energy. And when a woman matches that energy, then they feel some type of way. You know what I mean? I don't want to be talked to in an aggressive manner. So don't come at me aggressive. You may get aggressive back. You know what I mean? I don't want to be a flip comment. It's always the thing. Sometimes you get with I'm a jokester, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes you get with people that, are jokester, and you tell them, hey, not today. I'm not in the mood. And they want to keep going. Hey, I am not feeling that. You know what I'm saying? And then they continue to push. But then when they see a certain side of you, then they're shocked and surprised. How many times do you have to say it? You know what I'm saying? But energy matches energy. I think we don't look at each other as people. We look at each other as roles. And that, you can't look at someone as a role because you're trying to fit them into a box, and it doesn't work like that. You have to respect people as men and women. And that's where you start your foundation. Because if you don't have that respect and trying to understand a person, it's not going to work.
So again, so let me pose this question to you, Ms. D. I've heard what she had to say, and again, as eloquent as she put it, she still alluded to that submissiveness, something that she was trying to, I guess, not embrace, but it's okay. Hold on. It's okay to say you're willing to participate in what your man is doing, but out of all that you said, you still maintain that level of independence. You said what the man was expected to do, but you always try to elude what a woman can only do or what she wanted to do. So you took yourself out of your role by saying, I'll participate when I choose to. Yeah. Okay. But the man is still expected to change the air condition filters and do his thing, but you will participate. And if he questions you.
Let me reframe on that, because my man liked to feel needed. So when I'm like, hey, babe, I can't reach this, he was like, let me get that for you. I can do it myself. I could be independent, but I wanted him to feel needed. That's why I said that.
So
I heard that.
Okay. Now I have to go back to what Dana just said. If it's almost like you creating this house on the hill with the white picket fence, but we're talking about how do we bridge this gap. Okay. Now, most people, as Dana said, are trying to put people in a box. Okay. How often do people come together, realistically, through your experience, whether you actually participated or you witnessed it, where people actually come together and sit down without one person taking the lead, if he's a man or the woman, and say, you know what, this is what I want. This is what I want. There's some compatibility. This is what I dislike. This is what I dislike. This is what I will accept, and this is what I will not accept. How many people actually do that? Adults, educated, no matter what their ethnic background is. How many people come together and have those type of conversations?
I personally don't know many, because
none.
I don't have many experiences.
None, because people don't talk
a lot
like
about
that.
Boundaries and negotiations and what's non-negotiables. So, I think it's important to sit down and talk about your boundaries and your non-negotiables with your future partner. So
one thing that people don't do in this world,
What's that?
And in 63 years being on this earth, I learned this the hard way. I don't
You
care how educated,
63
how
today.
financial well off you are.
It's,
People are not willing to compromise. I hear people, I'm looking at these chats about communication is the key. Communication is not no fucking key, because if it was, where is the fucking key? Has it been lost? Maybe somebody need to find it. Because if communication was the key and everybody can talk, everybody got an opinion, they're just chatterboxes, why the fuck can't we come to a common ground? There's no compromise. Because of your past experiences based on a man's pride, if there's no compromise, there's no relationship.
yeah, I agree. Everybody got to compromise for something. I mean, you compromise just to be in a relationship. Like I personally would right now. Like, you know, everybody would have to compromise a little something to be in a relationship.
You know, that's the reason I'm such in agreement, and I think Miss D, I'm just saying it a little bit different than what you said it, but it's the same thing, that you know, we can't have these prerequisites when it comes to meeting people and trying to establish a relationship and think everybody's going to fit in a box, because that's not going to happen. You know, we have to be very open-minded, and it's cool to utilize your past experience, whether male or female, but I feel that you have to use those experiences as leverage and as a stepping stone to get you to that plateau in life where there's peace and compromise. You know, if we stick to our egos and we stick to these old warped and tainted ideologies that a lot of us embrace, including myself, we're never going to find any common ground when it comes to a relationship. Because we feel that our traumas, we feel that our experience, you know, exceed the next person's. And we've all experienced some, maybe to different levels in life, but we've all experienced some type of trauma when it comes to relationship, some type of disappointment, you know, some type of betrayal, some type of hurt, letdown, you name it, we've all done it. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it gives, based on gender, it gives one gender more right to advocate all the time as opposed to the other. You know, I don't like going to work every fucking day. I was just telling Fred today, these 12-hour shifts, 13-hour shifts, come home, I can't sleep. You know what I'm saying? Because I got a child here, but I don't complain. I just sat down with my sons today and told them, hey, this is what you have to do. You know, I don't like paying all these goddamn bills, but I do. That's my responsibility. So we have to come, in order to meet on that common ground, we have to be open-minded and willing to compromise. Hold on to your belief system. You're entitled to that based on your life experience. But we have to be able to compromise. And when I mean compromise, it's like I'm recalled of a story that a guy told me, and I'm gonna share this with you real fast. I was in a training, and it's this old guy. He was 80-something years old. His name is John. This is his real name. And I noticed, because I'm very observant of the things that go on around me, all the women migrated to this dude. It was like this dude was Don Juan. He was E.F. Hutton. They were hanging on his every word. I've never been jealous of a man in my life, because whatever you have, I can get. If you won't tell me how you got it, then I'll just watch you. So I'm watching this guy. So he was in the group next to me, because we were switching around in groups. So I leaned over and I said, hey, John, when you get a minute, can I talk to you? And he said, yeah. So moving forward, he was telling me how his house was set up, okay, which is normal for old people his age. Wife have a chair, the man has a chair, right? So he said he was watching a game, and his wife asked him, said, John, can you please get up and go in the kitchen and get me something to drink? And he said, my first instinct was tell her, this was his word, bitch, get up and go and get your own drink. You right there by the refrigerator. He said, but because I made a vow and a commitment to love my wife, to honor her, and to always try to make her happy. Even though I didn't want to do it, I did it. Why? Because I knew it would make her happy. He said, I went and got her drink, gave it to her, kissed her on her forehead and said, is there anything else you need me to do? And he went and sat down. So my point being this is that when you have couples that's been together like this for 60 something years, according to him, we've all been in relationships that have failed. But do we take any of the responsibility for those failures? When we tell the story, do we actually take accountability for the things that transpired in those relationships? Or do we point the finger at the other guy or the other woman as being the villain?
I know I do. Like,
Which side are you leaning towards? I'm trying
I guess that was that a question? Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
what side led you to the
like, I don't know, man. I just, there's a lot of shit that we talk about, and I'm just like, yo, that's some of that shit I understand, I get it, but a lot of that shit don't apply to me. You know what I mean? Like, I take full responsibility, and I'm one of those people that's on that 50-50 shit as far as like, you know, as far as the whole relationship goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe in roles and all of that shit like that. Like, if I can wash the dishes, so can you. If I can cook, so can you. But I just do certain things more often, and there's certain shit that she does more often. But I don't feel like, you know, like there's no roles or anything like that. I take full responsibility of my actions when I fuck up, and we got to have that sit down, like you said. Like, the first thing I start off is me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't point no fingers at nobody but myself, and then I might point out like this is, you know what I'm saying? Because for every action there's a reaction. So I might point out as far as like your actions led to my reactions, but other than that, should I take accountability to answer your question? Shit, why not? I'm in this motherfucking relationship, right? So some people can't do it. I'm able to do it. I could find it in myself, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like to look at like I'm in control of everything about me, like my self-reflection, my emotions, like, whatever goes on, I have to reflect back on myself first. So when I was younger, though, yeah, it was easy to point fingers and point the blame, but I've evolved a lot. Um, so yeah, taking ownership and responsibility is the only way to grow.
You know, it almost seems, hearing you talk, and this is the first time you've been on the show, it almost seems like you have this fairy tale thing going on, and it may be a reality, but to most people that's listening, including myself, it seems too far-fetched. And and it's
Just
not.
say you believe that shit. Don't
Hold on. Let me finish.
No, I mean, my ex is a Capricorn.
Can I finish? You see, here's the
Really
problem.
good man. I don't
Hold
feel
on.
like we
No,
have.
I'm not questioning your ex-man's integrity by any means. I'm just saying the way that you're coming across, it seems almost like a fairy tale. Because how often do you hear people that talk about the pleasing things that they experience in a relationship and then they part from it?
Right. I mean, I could talk about the negatives. I said we grew apart for the most part, But
okay, let me stop you there. How do you build something and then grow apart from it? I've never understood that.
how do you build something and grow apart from it? I think it was just incompatibility. And then also like there's a lot of personal things that I don't feel like sharing on this live.
And that's fine. That's
Between
fine.
you and but I can tell you this, we very much still respect each other. We still have a good relationship and communication and a bond. And like, no, things did not work out because, and like, nobody's perfect in a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, but I can tell you this, out of 22 years that we were together, there's probably 10 really bad times. And those bad times are like food reviews, right? You go to a restaurant and you go there and you've been there 100 times. And then one time they did something real fucked up and real bad, like bad service. The food is bad. Everything was just horrible. And then you go and you write a bad review and that's all you can remember and you don't want to go back. That's why after so long you can really depart from somebody because of those 10 bad reviews out of, I don't know how many days are in 22 years. I would assume thousands, but 10 days out of thousands, yes, because of that one really bad review. You feel me? That's how I would relay how can, something that seems so good go so bad, and then just now you guys are broken up. It's as simple as that. There's thousands of good days that we had, really good days. And there's 10 bad, really poor reviews that are just non-negotiables. And that's what I like to do is now I'm learning to set boundaries and have my non-negotiables. And, men don't like it all the time, but that is what it is.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I want to ask this question to both Dana and Elisa. Getting back to the actual question at hand, why is interracial relationship frowned upon in America, right? The reason why I'm asking y'all is because it seems like mostly like black women be like, why y'all go and date these white women, da da da, whatever. So in your opinion, let me ask y'all this. Why, in your opinion, do y'all think interracial, why do y'all think it's frowned upon? Why do y'all think, and the reason why I'm asking y'all, because obviously y'all are both black women, and it might not be the way you think, but you are black women. So you might be able to answer that question a lot easier than, say, a black man or a white woman. So why do y'all think that shit's frowned upon? And why do y'all think that black women get so fucking angry when we date outside our race?
I'll just
A
be
lot of them. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I feel like it's just an underlining bitterness and jealousy. I think people just need to, like, if we're talking about black women in general, like, I just don't feel like somebody else's relationship has anything to do with anybody. So stop and self-reflect. But there has to be some type of bitterness and underlying jealousy because of like the stereotypes, well, black women are left at home and now he's going to take care of this white woman, and her kids are like, oh, when he was broke, he was dealing with black women, but now that he got him some money, he moving up and he's dealing with the white, like, in my opinion, like, let him have her, let her have him. That's who they choose and that's who they love, but
Right.
yeah, unfortunately some people are just way too overly opinionated on other people's relationships, and it's got to be some bitterness and jealousy there. Yeah.
What about you, Dana?
I don't know about jealousy. I don't think it's jealousy. I mean, bitter, maybe, based on their personal situation. They may had a situation that didn't quite work out, and now they see, them moving on, just, something else. And then the comparison sometimes, when black men are with white women, they tend to compare. And, we don't get the, long end of the stick when it comes to the comparison. So that can make people very bitter. You know what I'm saying? Because again, we are not submissive. We are not this. We are not that. When, women have said, they don't mind playing that role. And it's not always the role that is assigned to us in a relationship. Again, some men like, more dominant women. But yeah, I think it's just based on the situation. Some people are just pro-black. Hell, we just like black on black on black on black. And so don't be mad because that's what I prefer. You know what I'm saying? If you prefer that, then I should be able to say I prefer this. You know what I mean? So it should be okay. People are going to judge. As much as we say we don't judge, people are going to verbalize their opinion about everything in your life. The car you drive, the house you stay in, the job you have, you know what I'm saying? Not just the women you choose to date. It's going to be about every aspect of your life. Unfortunately, I think this one just strikes a nerve because deep down inside it's something that y'all have to learn how to cope with too, because it don't come necessarily natural. You know what I'm saying? So there's been some things that you guys had to come to grips with and come to terms with, you know what I'm saying? Because you chose to date outside of your race. So a lot of it is projection too. So, go heal, my brother.
A good point.
Hey, but let me say like this, right?
We're always hearing.
I'm gonna say this. This is from like my personal experience. I think that and it's nobody's fault. I'm gonna say two things. One is nobody's fault. Number two, I'm not bashing nobody, but I'm gonna keep it 1,000, right? Sometimes with white people, right, as a black man, sometimes that white shorty, her family got generational wealth, and not about the money or the wealth, but it's just the principle of the shit. Like the fact
The
that they're
knowledge.
established and this is what's happening over there, that's way more attractive. So earlier I heard Lisa say the grass ain't always green on the other side. Well, fuck, the grass look hella green right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that our race, like, and our culture don't really teach us generational wealth. You know what I mean? We go out and it's, you look at these athletes, they first check, them niggas go and all buy the same shit, buy the same shit. They're not trying to invest their money. You know what I'm saying? And as far as women go, they're not thinking like that too. And I'm not saying not all women, but as far as like generational wealth and shit like that, that really attract niggas over there. Like if that's what it is, then that's where the fuck I'm going. Like I watched this video, right? Just on YouTube. A black woman is a black couple. Black woman for this nigga birthday, she bought this nigga a title deed to like some property. This nigga was wild mad. I don't want this property. Da da da. I'm like, this nigga stupid. Like, that's the problem with black people, because we don't think big like that. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm fucking with, as far as me, because I've been dating white women since I was like 17, 19, whatever the fuck. When you and again, like I said on the last joint, if we talking about the figures and all that, my ex-wife, she was making 6 figures a year. Her family, it was lit. You know what I'm saying? It was lit. So when you look in a lot of white families, their values, they are different than the black community. You know what I'm saying? So that's another reason why. And it's like when you got these black athletes and they fresh out of college and you see these niggas proposing to they high school or they college sweethearts or whatever the fuck, it ain't not, a lot of times it don't be no random ass white chick. It's not about just I'd rather be with a white chick than a black chick. What's going on in the hood, or not even just the hood, but within the black community, ain't the same thing that's going on in the white community. Them niggas money over there is different. It's big things popping over there, and that shit is attractive. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like we really need the shit. It's not like we can't get it, but that right over there, that shit's more attractive than this shit right here. You see what I'm saying?
You don't feel no kind of way, because the reason why it ain't so attractive over here is because the history, like that shit don't make you feel no type of way.
Like, I don't give a fuck about none of that history. I'm my own person. I think like my own. I'm not with that. This is the 60s and all of that shit like that. I'm a free thinker. And
I mean, you can't rewrite history. You can think freely, but you can't rewrite history. You know what I mean? You can say there's no generational wealth, but where are you contributing to that? What black kids are you teaching generational wealth? How are you keeping general? How are you keeping it in your community? How are you generating wealth within your community?
I'm only trying to teach my own kids. I'm not even worried about teaching no other black kids and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. Why are you asking me that question? Like,
shit. You ain't the solution. That's the damn
black. What are we teaching our own kids? To ask me,
exactly. I have a black son. I know what I'm teaching mine.
So okay, then. So that's all you can really worry about is
I have black nieces. I have black nephews. Then have a community I'm teaching.
Hey, however long the list goes, however many you got that you actually have to teach. Okay, cool. But me, I'm worried about mine, just like you worried about yours.
Right. And I don't look at other people's.
He's a black kid. He's gonna be set up with 75 acres in North Carolina. So I mean, it just depends on what family, like I think there's a lot of that same thing happen in black cultures in the South. Like not so much like, the Midwest and stuff like that or the East, but in the South, yes, it's out there. It's a lot of generation. I mean, like, dang, a lot of my friends and families, homes down Altadena, California, those been passed down from generation to generation. But Also, I wanted to also touch on like the whole jealousy Black women thing. I don't think it's specific. I think it's deep ingrained. Like white women have always been the standard of beauty. So like we just started getting Black Barbie dolls in the 90s, y'all. So you know, you gotta think as a Black woman, like, oh, this is the standard of beauty. And now our own men think this is the standard of beauty too, you know, like.
And then you say, why not unprotected? Because we are not even deemed by our own people as the most attractive people. You know what I mean? So it's like, but you know, this is a conversation that I think will never end. Ever.
With every other race with men, they say who's the most attractive. They're gonna say their woman, whether they're Polynesian or Asian or Dominican or Chinese, or and they may not be the most attractive woman in the world. We'll let Miss Universe decide that. There's beautiful people everywhere. But the standard here in America that everybody tells us is that the women are just the most unpleasing, you know, unattractive people in the world. When I find Black women are the most, and I like women, finest people in the world. I mean, like, but I don't get to know them all on a personality basis, but I can kind of sometimes see where you guys are talking about, like when I schedule a hair braiding appointment and I go to meet up at my appointment. Why are you just now preparing when I'm here and I gotta wait for you for 45 minutes to like, come on now, like. So there's certain things, you know, that as Black women, yes, like we gotta work on us too if we want to stop being portrayed in this type of specific way. But I think a lot of things are changing in society right now. And I think that women are becoming the beauty standard. I mean, you know, people are getting their bodies done to look like Black women, essentially. So, you know, and then we're also becoming the most successful in the nation. So count those days, you know, we'll be there soon. It's the age of Aquarius. I think a lot of people will become more wiser, but hopefully we'll figure out how to get relationships between men and women back adhesive in our Black community, which I think we are adhesive. Like the statistics are not that bad. Not what everybody's making it out to seem in the media. The dudes is in the household. These Black men are in the households. They really are. And, you know, just like in any race, people.
So,
hey, let me cut you off right quick. I think that as far as like, I'm gonna touch on what you said as far as like women are trying to make themselves and do all this enhancements and shit to look like Black women. But I think it's just the opposite. I think that Black women are way more busy. I think there's way more Black women trying to be the ideal woman, and the ideal woman is whatever the fuck is portrayed in the media. That's what they see online and on you know what I'm saying, on the internet or whatever, on social media and all of that. You got Black women bleaching their skin. You got Black women getting BBLs. You got Black women with caterpillar eyelashes, fake ass hair. Like, we know Black women don't got straight hair like that. I think that you see a lot more of that shit. A lot more Black women trying to be what the social norm is. That's what I want to call it, the social norm, more than ain't no Asian women trying to dress up like no fucking Black women.
Yeah, they
ain't
do.
No white woman trying to look Black. She might listen to hip hop or whatever the fuck it is, but
she does. I mean, like white women tan their skin like 5-6 complexions darker to be darker.
That's just sexy though.
I never said it wasn't sexy. It just is what it is. Everybody's like, what do you call it? Reprocreating, like, you know.
but just because you catching the tan though don't mean like Black women get tan too. I get tan. I'll be looking forward to that shit.
Like
I'm not even gonna lie.
is best in the summer. The darker the better for me. That's just how I feel. But no, it's true though. I feel like, yeah, I cannot stand when I see my Black women with. I mean, hey, for each his own. For each his own. They do it.
Well, matter of fact, that's a topic for a different discussion. Okay, I'm sorry.
But you know, white women do perm their hair to make it curly. They do wear extensions on a regular. You just can't tell because their hair is already straight, but they'll put that clip in the middle real quick.
I don't know what kind of black magic y'all be doing. That shit is crazy.
Black magic.
You gonna pin that one. Tell her to pin the other comment. You gonna pin that one though.
Nah. Look, hey, I'm just trying to be funny. I'm just being funny. When I say that black magic shit, I'll be watching the videos with chicks be pulling off their whole fucking face, and it's like day and night. It's like you went from a dude an ugly dude to a beautiful woman. So that's when I said, because there's videos like that. You know what I'm saying? So when I say the black magic, that's what I be talking about. I'm not saying like y'all be.
I got a question for all y'all go, man, because this is what I'd be confused about now that we talking about interracial relationship.
Okay.
Why do we have a problem when it's one way? And I want the two women to answer this. And why don't black women have that same energy for black women that date white men? Why do black women get congratulated when they date a white man? You go, girl. Okay, I see you. Why y'all don't have that same energy? Like, why you with that white man? Why you doing it? Why y'all don't have that energy for them? And not only
I think
that,
people do.
why y'all don't have
I
that
think they
energy
do.
for Kamala Harris with her white husband
Well,
with his white kids?
I think she's right. I think people do, but then on the retrospect, I think they look like, oh, she's getting taken care of. Like, high five.
And not the fact that y'all been doing this so long. Hell, why not? We just joined the party not too long ago. So yeah, if you can do it, we can too.
No, but why don't y'all have the energy towards black women like y'all have towards black women? I mean, black men.
I think they do.
They don't.
I think a lot of white men.
You know you're not a black woman. You don't know.
They just congratulated Darren in the comments, and he the only white man. Well, he ain't the only one. I see my boy Jason in there. But Darren over there talking about whatever black woman and black men I want, I'll take them. And they was over there congratulating. They own it.
Damn, because you got three men up here talking about the white woman experience. Can we have one white man give?
Nah, we can't. We can't do that. Why do y'all not have the same energy? Y'all don't even have. I even go a step further. Y'all don't even have the energy for a black
when you're in
woman.
a neighborhood, right? And
wait, hold on.
House that's
Y'all don't
run
even have
by
the same
a man in the
energy for a
household.
black woman that's even gay and she be dating white women. Y'all don't even have the energy for them.
Look at the white man's house and look at the Mexican's man's house. And then you tell me why we congratulating our sisters for getting with the white man. I'm gonna just say, white men know how to be, just like you guys say, and we don't talk about this. We talk about black women not being feminine and submissive enough, but white men know how to be more masculine. I mean, they get on that roof.
That's not true.
They know how to.
That's not true.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
They can't take
it when you
because you can ask.
They got all kinds of
these
cars
conversations.
Do
we ask these conversations with? Of course, you know we had these conversations with white women. Say, why do y'all even date black men? They always tell me, even though they come from a 2-parent household, they looked at black men as more masculine than the white men. They felt more protected being with a black man than a white man.
Black men are more aggressive than white men.
It's not
black women are more aggressive than white women. This is true.
Listen, Freddie, hey, y'all can dish it, but y'all can't take it. Listen,
I'm taking it. I just want y'all to.
I ain't gotta agree with that shit.
Y'all have double standards.
I mean, reflect on it. If you drive down a neighborhood, whose house is fucked up in the neighborhood? Whose house got all the cars in it? Whose fence is broke?
They go both ways.
Whose grass ain't no.
That go both. Hey, let me tell you this. Let me tell you why I go both ways. Hey, Ramon.
I'm just saying.
We work in the same industry, bro.
Not all
and I want you to keep it 100.
Category for all black men, but
Ramon. Hold on, Elise. Ramon. The position that I have in my job. How many more black men do you see me that got the same title as me?
Not a lot.
It's not. I'm rare within my position at work, right? You know how I'll be straight up with you. How I even got that position? A white woman. A white woman recognized my work and vouched for me and put it on the line to even get me in there. When I moved to Vegas, because I had to just get my foot in the door, she took me from the bottom and brought me to one of the top positions you can get within the company. You know what I'm saying? You know who hated on me for getting a position? My own people. Oh, I've been here 10 years. How he get the job? He only been here a year. Knocking. It was white, and it's a married white woman, so it wasn't like she trying to fuck with a nigga, no shit like that. An older white woman got me that job, and I'm really the only black person, not even just my job, even within my own industry, that even had this position.
There's a lot of
how many people at her level? How many black people are at her level and above?
We got black women in the position. There's no black men.
But I'm saying
there are a few black women, but I am in my company across the whole country. I'm the only black man that has my position.
Right, but I'm asking a question. At the time, the white lady grabbed you by the bootstraps and pulled you up to this position of grand DOT,
Yo, it's
Diosity,
crazy.
just grandness. How many Black women were in her position
There's a few.
that could have did the same thing?
Yeah, they could have had a say so. But that's the bad thing about sometime in our culture, you know, and men do it too. We like to be praised for what we got, and we ain't trying to see the next black dude or black woman on the same level. That go back even to the streets. When nigga that got all the money, he don't want to show the other
Do you
nigga how to
think
get
it's perhaps, was it a DEI hire? Do you think? Do you know?
No.
Maybe.
Mm-mm.
I'm just like,
Before we go, let's address some of these comments if we could. I don't think.
Hold on. Yeah, this one to Tiana you wanted to put on the screen. We
Which
wasn't
one?
talking about masculinity in the job. She was comparing what white men do for black women, and I was giving an example of what a white woman in the job did for me. She wasn't talking about a white man either in the house. She said a white man on the side of the street changing a tire. We can't have selective hearing, man.
So your job has nothing to do with masculine or leadership within the home. What does that mean?
Exactly.
she was
That's not what I
basically
said.
saying, Lisa was making a point that, you know, men tend to say all these wonderful things, why they choose Black women, but Black women have reasons of why they choose Black men. And one of the reasons were because, you know, they feel like the white men are more, what did you say? They're better at.
I mean, like they were saying
She said white men are more masculine.
Feminine. Yeah. And I'm saying white men can be more masculine in a different aspect, not aggressive, but masculine. And what I meant by that is, like, to take a small example, is you can drive down any random neighborhood and you will see a fucked up house with a fucked up car and it's broke down and the grass ain't, and whose house is that? And there's a good chance, because I've lived in plenty of neighborhoods, it's the Black family's house and there's a Black man.
Go to Paul's house. That's 98% Mexican.
I'm not saying this is the standard for every Black man, but what I'm saying is a lot of white men tend to take on that masculine role and they run with it. I mean, you should see these white men in Alaska. They got boats and ATVs and they know how to do everything. Like, they just be putting shit together and fixing everything at the house. I mean, they do it.
That's true.
White men move on business. They continue to move on business. And the reason why you were saying, like, Black women, we congratulate another Black woman, and then we look at the Black dude like you would a white woman, it's because of the double standard, right? Okay, finally, sis, somebody can take care of you and your kids. You found you a good man.
To say that.
He's going to be masculine.
Come on now.
Fuck out of here.
These words you use.
Now y'all don't hear it.
That's why we go on the other side.
Servant, not submissive. Then when she talk about the Black man is aggressive. But then you can't say the Black woman's aggressive. It's because I'm a single mom and I got to be this way. But then you compare the Black man to the white man, the Black man got to be aggressive. Listen to these words, man.
Okay, let me ask her a question. Okay, when you compare houses and Caucasian men to Black men, and you use the analogies and the examples that you use, that's really an insult to Black men, and particularly myself. So is it you date white men?
I've not dated a white man, but however, I'm not
okay. Hold on.
Offensive to you guys. I'm not putting everybody in this category. I don't think that, like I said, I don't think that any of you men are feminine and y'all all carry masculine traits. I said that earlier on. However, generally speaking, statistically, I think that, yes, I personally think that white men are more masculine than Black men. And I'm not talking about I'm stronger than you. I know Black men are the best on the basketball court. We the fastest runners. And I know Black people are the most intelligent people in the world. However, you guys don't walk around in your masculinity on a general population here in America like white men do. And that's because everything's been handed down to them. I mean, they got the generational wealth. They don't have any fucking worries. You know, like, there's a reason why they come off.
You're subscribing to this. So define how you feel white men, particularly Caucasian, are more masculine than Black men.
I just told you.
Hold on. Wait. I'm sorry.
I just told you.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me interject. I want to say this shit. I want to answer your question, fam. And I know that you asking no girl, but look, my shit is this. It's just a disparity in black and white people, right? When I was a mail carrier in Henderson, right? I used to be driving my little mail truck through the hood, through the neighborhood, because it wasn't the hood, it was the neighborhood. It is white people and shit, right? I'm in Henderson. Like she said, generational wealth. This is what you see white men do, and this is what you see niggas do. And I say niggas because like I'll be watching videos on YouTube and I'm like, yo, these are the coolest videos. You see these dudes in the woods and they building all these huts and houses made out of mud and all kind of shit like that. I'll be like, yo, why don't our people be doing shit like that? I'll be seeing white men take a quarter and make a ring out of the shit and making swords out of all types of wild shit. But our people just don't think like that. When you really think about the contributions, and before y'all motherfuckers jump in the comments and be talking all wild crazy about shit, y'all don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. When you talk about contributions to society, what are black people really bringing to the table in comparison to the rest of the fucking world? There's a lot of shit going on and it's not going on because of black people. So when you ask her that question, that's just what the fuck it is. You don't see niggas up on top of roofs, and it's not because we lazy, because we just not into that shit. That's just not our fucking thing. You know what I'm saying?
But we are though, like indigenously, we were those people. We were the cowboys. You know, they
Not
took
today,
that
though.
away from us in slavery. Like literally, we are hunters, and you men, black men, y'all are that in your DNA, but you just don't know how to get back there. It's like just like women, we don't want to be like a house servant. Y'all is like, I'm done with the slavery bullshit too, and that's why black men are not doing those same type of things like the white men know how to do. But that makes them more masculine, and I'm glad you brought up that point about them making stuff and crafting and all this stuff, because that's another perspective that doesn't seem as disrespectful as I was putting it before.
Hey, as funny as that shit may sound, that's just what it is. Like I said, when I'm riding my little mail truck, I see white kids on ATVs. I'm like, yo, you don't see that shit in the hood. You don't see black people teaching their kids how to ride little fucking dirt bikes and ATVs and little fucking Can-Ams and shit like that. Like the shit that I'm like, yo, these little niggas is on their way to greatness. The shit that I be seeing. You see what I'm saying? And I be seeing, and I'm not, and again, matter of fact, I don't give a fuck who get in the comments and say what, man. Say what the fuck y'all niggas want. But I'll be seeing the videos of black people, little 3-year-olds with like 1,000 little kinked up little I love mom chains and all that kind of shit. That's what the fuck we teach our peoples. That's why you see it. And it's like you said, Elisa, they just on a different level. You don't see black men doing certain shit because we don't teach our fucking kids that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? That's not the level we think on. We think about everything is fucking lit, turned down for what? Niggas always got to turn the fuck up. That's the way we think. Meanwhile, white people ain't giving a fuck about turning up. They think they mind is on shit that really matters. So that's why they on the roof. That's why they doing a lot of other shit that niggas don't be doing, because niggas don't think like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's all black people. That's just generally speaking, like, yo, as blanket as it may sound, I'm not saying all people think like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I watch the type of videos that I be watching when I'm on YouTube, and I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Like, white people be making all kinds of wild shit. Why niggas? I'm like, nigga can't do none of that shit.
We don't be doing it.
Nigga know how to sell some drugs,
my
bro.
ex
We
thought like
know how to hustle
know?
and shit. We know how to do all kinds of other shit that white people can't do. But realistically speaking, again, I'm gonna say this shit again.
They hustle your ass every day. They got y'all believing all kind of shit. So
man,
yeah,
I don't give a fuck what you talking about, man. That shit ain't even real,
They
man.
have a big
I'm
old
just
house
talking about when
with a whole rack of fish, and they went and got a big old moose and chop it up, put in the freezer. It's like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, even just
do that.
Like, you don't see no black people trying to be outdoorsy and all that. Like, no, we ain't trying to do all of that. Like when I left New York, the first time I went back to the Bronx after 7 years, I came back, nigga told me I wasn't black no more. Oh, you white now? Fuck you mean I'm white now? Fuck, what does that even mean? Only black.
That was just because of the type of people you hung around. You know what I'm saying?
But I don't give a fuck who I hung around. What do you mean I'm not black anymore? What do you mean I'm white? How the fuck everybody I meet out here on the West Coast be like, you from New York, right? You from the hood, you from the Bronx, right? I could tell. But when I go back to the Bronx, niggas talking about, yo, you too white now. Come the fuck on. Only black people say shit like that. Only black. That's a nigga mentality. That shit is stifling. And as long as niggas think like that, that's the way it's gonna be. And again, that's why there's never gonna be no motherfucking solution to, like I said, like to Elisa, to her question, is that not enough niggas is gonna be on board to go forward. Niggas gonna think the way they gonna think, and that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Fuck all the bullshit. Fuck what niggas talk about in the comments. I'm telling it like it is before we log off.
He's right.
That's
He's
your perspective.
100% right.
It is my perspective, but this real niggas don't want to hear that shit. But guess what? That's the thing about people.
I don't consider myself
too.
a
Nobody
nigga,
wants to hear the truth about themselves. That's the thing. Nobody. Who the fuck wants to hear the truth about themselves? Nobody.
Category. It's about exposure. You know what I'm saying? What you was exposed to. And so if you grew up in a situation and you had limited exposure, then that's what you're going to grow up with, limited exposure, until you get yourself around people and expose yourself and then teach your children those things. Those are the things you have to do. It's exposure. You know what I'm saying? We can fish, you know, we can hunt, we can build. We are the most innovative people on this planet. You understand what I'm saying? But it's about putting your mind to it. We do tend to focus on other shit. You know what I'm saying? And more aesthetics, you know what I'm saying, versus trying to build and do generational wealth. We worried about the wrong shit. You know what I'm saying? But as far as niggas, you know, when you put yourself around a bunch of niggas, you tend to act like a nigga. So I don't necessarily, you know, rock with that.
Yo, I'm so glad you said that, because it's like I said, like I came out here, I'm like, oh shit, niggas riding jet skis now. If I was in the Bronx, guess who wouldn't have never rode a fucking jet ski? That nigga L. Guess who would have never rode an ATV? That nigga L. Guess who would have never went on a cruise?
You didn't have to get with a white woman to do that. You could have just exposed yourself to other things.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. So to touch on what you're saying, right? I had a nigga when I was in the Bronx. I had one of my homies that I grew up with. He moved out the Bronx and moved upstate New York with his dad. His dad, they stayed around a bunch of white people. So when he came to the hood, he was bringing all that white shit to the hood. I was like, yo, I'm digging this shit. Like, what the fuck? This nigga's living good. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I know this. Now this nigga, he the first one out of all of us with a whip. This nigga whipping it. Where the fuck you get a car from? Where? Let me start going upstate New York, seeing this nigga now. Go up there. Guess what? The first thing I noticed was the weed was better. Them niggas got fucking White Widow. They ain't smoking no fucking chocolate. They ain't smoking skunk. Just from the beginning. Oh shit, I'm smoking better now. Ooh, okay, good start.
But it's not necessarily white people, it's exposure. It's what you exposed to.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like when I
you said he was bringing back white people shit. I don't know what.
Yo, when I expose myself to white people who wasn't on that other shit.
Oh, okay.
On the type of shit that I was on.
Gotcha.
I saw the other side. Like it's like you and Fred said, when you stuck on this in the same bubble, when you keep yourself in that same bubble, you can expect the same fucking results. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna see nothing. You ain't gonna see around that corner. As far as you can see, is right there at the fucking corner. But until you start thinking outside that bubble, you ain't gonna see what's around that motherfucker. You ain't gonna see what's around the corner. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm trying to say.
That's true. Yeah.
So you gotta expose yourself. You know what I'm saying? If I wouldn't expose myself to white people, it's like I'd be seeing Tiana, right? In the chats. She like, yo, let's stick and I'm cool. Like, I'm so cool with sticking together. I'm so cool with the Black unity and union. I'm cool with that shit. Don't get it fucked up. I'm cool with that. But when that's the only way you thinking, you limiting yourself, because there's a whole world of other shit that's going on that's not going in the rest of the world, that's not going on within your own community. So when you want to stay with only Black people, with only niggas, with only Black women, then this is all you're gonna get.
And but she can't stay with only Black people.
There's a whole other world going on.
Dad is Mexican. She ain't all Black.
Say what?
Tiana's dad is Mexican, so she just
but I don't care what her dad is. That's not my point.
I'm just saying, you know
what I'm saying.
As much as what it is, it's like she got a very diverse background. But
I'm not. This ain't a dig at Tiana. This is not a dig. I'm just saying, based off the comments that she made, as far as like, let's keep it Black. I'm cool with that. If you want to keep it Black, keep it as Black as. Keep that shit blue. Keep it fucking whatever. You know what I'm saying? Keep it darker than Black. But me personally, I know that a whole world of other shit is going on outside, And when, like you said, when you expose yourself to that shit, you're gonna see a whole, you're gonna have a brighter, you know what I'm saying, a brighter, a much more broader vision,
Right.
because
And it doesn't
everything that's
necessarily
going
have to
on
be
ain't
white.
just
You
in
can
our
expose
community.
yourself to different cultures, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go and immerse yourself in the culture. You know what I'm saying? You can still
Nah, fuck that. I'm
explore
immersing myself. I'm fully immersed. I'm trying to see
well,
what these
you
white
know,
people being about. And guess what? I'm making these other connections because
and
you know
white
what?
men are, what did you say, Alyssa? They more what?
Masculine. They're
Hey,
more.
but look, let me
I
tell you
mean,
something. It's
it
just like, I
depends
look
on
at it
how
like
we
this. I used to
define
always say like this.
masculine, but they are. They're doing the masculine things.
Hey, but look, here's my thing. When I was wilding out in the streets, I learned that, you know what, you gotta keep legal friends and illegal. You got to keep legal friends as well as your illegal friends. You know what I'm saying? Because one day you might need those legal friends to get you out of a fucking jam. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes when you meet those legal friends, none of your illegal friends, them niggas ain't connected like that. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, I'm fucking with these white people because their connections are different than the black people that I fuck with. And sometimes that's just what it is. All the lawyers that I know, trust me, whether it's injury lawyer, whether it's fucking fraud, a fraud, or all kind of I know attorneys, but guess what? The attorneys that I know, none of them are black. And I'm not saying that there's no black attorneys. I'm just saying that when you expose yourself to other races, then you make those other connections. You got to expose yourself. Don't stifle your motherfucking self. I'm immersing myself in whiteness and Asianness and whatever the fuck it is in this, and still keep and still maintain and still be able to maintain the nigga in me. That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun when you
You
do
know what
that.
I'm saying?
For real.
That's just how I feel about it, man. Fuck all
Yeah.
that stand in the black circle, man. Fuck all that shit. There's a whole world going on besides the black circle, and I'm trying to get involved. And that's just me.
You can learn a lot from that.
Real
Yeah,
shit.
that's facts. Yeah, I agree. I think on the cultural side, black women and black men, men and women, we need to uh, we need to work together more. Like, how do we do that? You know, how do we become more supportive of each other? How do we root for one another? Because at the end of the day, if somebody's being blessed over here, you shouldn't hate on who God bless. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know what's so funny, Freddie.
You got your comments.
I
No,
don't
you're
see
looking at the
comments
comments like crazy.
I don't
Hey,
see.
hey, this is the first time they wasn't on Vermont. Vermont, you escaped today, boy. They get on Larry ass right now.
Hey, I already knew. Like I already told. Like I said, I already lit the comments up before them niggas even responded. I don't give a fuck.
It's
Everybody
true.
know how I am, man. I'm gonna speak my truth. That's my truth. You ain't gotta agree with it.
I
That's
agree with
my
him.
truth.
I
That's just
think a
what
lot
it
of
is.
people in the comments can probably learn from what he said. I mean,
Say it again.
I don't know who's in the comments. I haven't read them, but
Hey,
Girl,
a
don't
lot
do
of
hey,
it.
people.
Don't
that
speak for
boy
them
L,
comments,
that boy
girl.
L can be abrasive. I can be abrasive
I'm on
sometimes.
my cell phone, so
Yeah, but I'm saying they don't agree.
It's okay. We can agree to disagree.
you can agree.
You see what I'm saying? We could do that.
Disagree.
I don't mind playing a villain. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not living for them.
I've
I'm living
lived
for
it
me.
too. Like in Alaska, there's a lot of communities there. It's like a melting pot, y'all. So just as many white people as there's natives to the land, Samoans, blacks, Africans, Filipinos, whoever. And I tell you what, Samoans are a lot like the niggas in the community. You know whose house is who when you're driving in that neighborhood. But you'll see them white boys and them Asians post a rack full of 10 fish, post a big ass moose that they just killed and hunted. I mean, those are survival skills. That's very masculine, whether you like it or not. You know, who's keeping their house together knows how to fix some shit around the house. I mean, it's a masculine trait. You know, you
Black
can.
men need to get more masculine.
Oh, here you go.
I mean, we've been down in our black women on us not being feminine enough. It's time you guys hear it too. Okay.
That's cool. That's cool. I agree. Hey, look, I agree with a lot of shit that everybody be saying, but sometimes, man, like I feel like motherfuckers be too nice and be too scared to say what really needs to be said and to say what people really need to hear. And a lot of times we just don't want to hear the truth. That's just the real shit. Like nobody wants to hear the truth. So I'll play that villain role and I'll say what needs to be said, man. So don't matter what people agree with.
With truth comes change.
There you
For
go.
some, hey, I agree, but for some, everybody ain't like that. Everybody, that shit gonna fly over most people's heads.
Yeah.
Real shit. It's gonna fly over most people's heads. They ain't gonna catch it.
But my preference is still always Black, regardless. I mean, these are just little points and things that we're pointing out. It was a question asked, and that's my opinion as to why. But it doesn't mean that it's not true.
Okay. Let me say something so we can close this out. First and foremost, I want to thank each and every one of you for being on the show. And even though we may not agree with another person on the panel's opinion, we have to respect it. We don't know, and I'm not siding with anyone. I don't know what made Larry take on this perspective that he had, but it's his right as a man, as a human, to engage in any ethnic background that he chooses to. The same thing with you, Elisa. You made a statement that I could have easily took offense to, but I'm not, because looking up the definition and how you're choosing to word it, convey it, I think a lot of people, Black men particularly, would take offense to that. But we're gonna leave it like that. I want to say this. We're in, and this is for all the people out in the audience. We're in the process of promoting for, it's February the 14th, Dana? February the 14th, a dating platform, okay? So all of you people that's single, if you're able to come to Vegas, or if you're in Vegas, then we would ask you to support and attend. We will be giving more information as the days go by. So with that being said, again, thank each and every one of you for coming on. Thank all the people that participated in the comment section. I hate you got my guy kind of heated up, but it is what it is.
It's all good, baby. I'm here for it.
Everybody, please take care. Be safe out there. God bless you. I love you. And stay tuned for the next episode.
All
So
right.
I'm gonna close it.
Bye.
I'm gonna close.